Okay, good morning, guys. My name is Matthew Oshler. I did option 2 to create a new Deviant profile, and I'm doing a Deviant profile of sugar dating. So, sugar dating generally involves younger individuals who are transactionally interacting with older individuals, whether that's like financially, material for luxury stuff, like, oh, hey, you'll hang out with me, I'll give you $1,000, or hey, let's go to Hawaii and I'll pay for it. I thought it would be interesting, especially considering that I found that most sugar babies are comprised of college students and recent graduates, which is kind of, like our area. So I was like, oh, hey, that's interesting. Kind of wanted to see how that dynamic worked. I wanted to see how perceptions change over time, like when we had the sexual revolution in the 70s and casual sex, like the entire viewpoint of that changed. It became less stigmatized. Um, so I wanted to see if there's anything like that for sugar dating. So what even is sugar dating? Sugar dating is when a younger person, the sugar baby, is compensated either financially or materially by an older person, the sugar dad or sugar mom, for emotional or sometimes sexual intimacy. So contextually, this is deviant because intimacy is being blended with an economic exchange. This kind of overlaps with transactional sex, which as we've learned through like prostitution and escorting is illegal and it's just finicky in some places. So this isn't a new phenomenon. I couldn't find anything saying exactly where it started, but I know like there's always been the saying of, oh, marry rich, or like marrying up, where people, I mean, this doesn't have to do with marriage. This is like sugar dating or whatever, but same premise. People getting with people with a lot of money. But it was recently empowered by like the internet and everything. Made it a lot easier with websites like you can see seeking.com. And this isn't deviant because like someone is actually being like harmed technically. It's just considered deviant because it goes against our social norms of what a relationship should be. Um, Key findings, demographics. So sugar babies are young, college-age women facing financial strain. Sugar daddies are older, wealthier men. Basically, every study I looked at defined them as that exact demographic. There's not a whole lot on the prevalence, but this one study I found that had 1,582 people, they found that 5.2% of U.S. undergrad students had been engaged in a sugar relationship at some point. The average sugar baby age is 28, and the average sugar daddy age is 48. Um, some of the trends when the internet was introduced, like digitization of everything skyrocketed. There's all these apps now and all that where you can, even Facebook has a dating section now. Like, it's ridiculous. But anyway, I digress. The sugar baby's motivations are generally financial need, the desire for luxury, maybe. Like I said, oh, going on shopping trips, shopping sprees, expensive stores, going expensive vacations. But on the other side of that, the sugar daddies want emotional intimacy, companionship, and sometimes sexual intimacy. So they're basically paying these people to go with them so they'll hang out with them. Whether they're divorced, still married, and having an affair, or if they're just lonely, and want someone to hang out with. So I'm analyzing this through the perspective of Marine string theory, which, if you don't remember, basically said we have these culturally accepted goals that we're trying to get to, and we attain these through culturally accepted legitimate means. However, innovators achieve these cultural goals through illegitimate means. So what this implies is that like these sugar babies are seeking financial stability, a culturally established goal, but they're faced with student debt, inflation, rising college prices, college loans, all this stuff. So they're forced to innovate to have financial stability through potentially deviant ways like engaging in surveying. So, I mean, yeah, you can picture a recent college graduate, bad job market, not a whole lot of income, and they're like, oh, I'll go hang out with this guy twice a week and I'll get, $10,000 or whatever. So, some of the implications of sugar dating. Sugar dating reveals underlying economic pressures like the increasing cost of living, student loans, the price of college. All of these things are kind of forcing people into this deviance as an adaptation. It also entails the commodification of intimacy, which we've seen where people are marketing their bodies and relationships rather than engaging in actual real relationships. Some cultural differences. This study found that younger people are actually more accepting of transactional intimacy than older people, which is probably just an age thing. Um, they're less likely to, older people are less likely to want to adapt than younger people are. Some policy implications, some dating sites restrict sugar dating, which I'll show you in the next slide. And we should address the cost of living and student debt issues, because if we address the underlying economic pressures, then less people will be forced into innovating through this deviance. Some future research could look into LGBTQ dating, because I couldn't find anything on that, and maybe some more cross-national comparisons, because most things were US-centric that I found. And as you can see on the slide on the left, the graph on the left, that's just a visual representation of that survey from earlier. It shows that around like 80, 100 looks like. It's the number of people who are undergrad students who had engaged in sugar dating. And on the right, you can see that picture I was talking about earlier. When I opened seeking.com, this actually specifically popped up, and it clearly labels this deviant because it's restricting sugar dating and transactional relationships on these dating sites. So, in conclusion, sugar dating is deviant because it challenges social norms, not because it's, pedophilic, like an age issue, violent, or anything like that. It is labeled deviant, and like according to our norms, and so it becomes deviant. Young adults engage in it due to financial strain. The sugar daddies engage in it because they want intimacy, maybe companionship. I think it's important to note that looking at this restraint theory presents this behavior as something rational, not a moral failure. It's these people need money, and they're like, okay, this is a quick way to get it. Let me do this. It's not because they're bad people or anything. And yeah, sugar dating teaches that deviance isn't limited to harmful acts, but rather to what society itself deems deviant.